Hello, welcome. So, it is December 30th, and I have made the executive decision that I am not going to finish any more books this year. I do not usually do like star ratings for books. I used to. Ultimately, it started to feel way too reductive to me, basically, but the thing that I would like to know is my average rating. I'd like to know the stats. For some reason, I'm just really curious, and so I am going to go through all of the books that I read in 2022 and give them star ratings on Storygraph. So we're going to try to do this fairly rapid fire because I kind of want to go with like my gut instinct, and not overthink it. I'm going to do half stars only, I think. So, first of all, we have... Oh my god, I don't even know how to give star ratings. I don't do this. Okay. Okay, so I am just going to do... So, Hunting Party, I'm going to give that 3.5 stars. Felt like it was a good thriller, but ultimately not very memorable, and I would never be interested in rereading it. Okay, Tender as the Flesh. I absolutely loved Tender as the Flesh. I am going to give it 4.5, I think, because it didn't feel like a perfect book to me, but it was very, very good. I thought it was so impactful. The Guest List, my second Lucy Foley. I'm gonna say I liked this one better than The Hunting Party, so we're gonna do 4 stars. A Slow Fire Burning by Paula Hawkins. This is another thriller. Honestly, barely even remember it. I think we're gonna do 3. This one could honestly be a 2.5, but James and the Giant Peach. Read this in Spanish, had never read it before. I absolutely loathe Roald Dahl for his personal views. We're gonna give it 3 stars. I don't think I fully appreciated the humor in it because I was reading it in Spanish, but it was cute. So we're gonna say 3.5 for The Storm is Upon Us. It's about the QAnon community. It was okay. It was informative about how that started and everything. I didn't feel like it really made any difference for me, so yeah. Solutions and Other Problems is the second graphic novel from the author of Hyperbole and a Half, and it was very, very heavy, but very good. Hilarious, also made me cry, very sad, many trigger warnings. We're giving it 4 stars. People Like Them is a very, very short, literary thriller that I really, really enjoyed. I would like to hear a lot more people talk about this. I'm gonna give it 4 stars. I would definitely read something else by the author. I don't think anything else has been translated from her. She writes in French. Okay, Nothing But Black and Teeth. I have seen so much hate about this book, and I don't get it. I thought it was fine. I didn't love it. I think I'm gonna give it 3.5 stars, but I thought it was pretty good. It was just a very short thriller or horror. I don't know. I thought it was fun. Fluent Forever is a nonfiction book about language learning. Liked it, didn't love it. Gonna give it 3 stars. I thought it was interesting. He talks so much about how you have to learn through immersion and making meaningful connections with the language, but then his idea of meaningful connections with the language is making flashcards, and I didn't agree with that, but the first part of it was interesting. Cursed Bunny, loved it. I would like to reread this at some point. Some of the stories, to me, were a lot better than others, but I'm giving it 4.5 stars. Not going to rate Harry Potter. I have stopped listening to these books in Spanish because the problematic nature of the books themselves, not just the author, has started to bother me, but I did enjoy listening to them. Let's see. Somebody Loves You. I would waffle between 4 and 3.5, but I think I'm going with 4. I did really like this, but I don't know how much it will stick with me. The Paris Apartment, the third book by Lucy Foley that I read. I liked this one quite a bit, but I do think The Guest List is my favorite by her, so we're going 3.5. Recitatif! One of my favorite books of the year, probably. We are giving it 5 stars. How Stories is a collection of short stories based on kind of the Chinese language, the oracle script. I really, really liked it. I would recommend it. I think we're going for 4 stars. Catching Fire, the second Hunger Games book. I love this series so much. I think that it has absolutely great political messages and discussion. The Sun and Her Flowers, the only Rupi Kaur that I have read. I think we're gonna do 3 stars. I enjoyed listening to this in Spanish. I do not think I would have enjoyed it in English because it was very simple, and I think because it was in Spanish, it wasn't overly simple for me, but I think in English it definitely would have been overly simple. The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, I think we're going to go 4 stars. Pride and Prejudice, both of these are rereads, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo and Pride and Prejudice. I think I'm going to do 4 stars, maybe 4.5. We'll do 4.5. The Alchemist. The first read of The Alchemist. Again, a very, very polarizing one. We are gonna say 3.5. I enjoyed it. I don't think it's that deep. It was very, very Orientalist or borderline racist in some parts, so didn't love that. The Silent Parade. I really enjoyed Keiko Higashino last year, but I did not like this book. I thought it was very, very dry. I think it would be an overstatement to say I didn't like it, but I wouldn't say I enjoyed it. So we're going to go for 2.5. Second read of The Alchemist. Not going to review that. I'm not going to review the Boxcar Children because I did not enjoy listening to this, but that's because I'm several decades older than you're supposed to be when you read those books. I remember loving them when I was a kid, so we'll just leave it in the past. The Guest Cat. I wanted to like this a lot more than I did. I enjoyed it, but we're going to give it 3 stars because it was honestly completely forgettable. But if you need an atmospheric Japanese translated read, it was good. Esperanza Rising. I'm going to do 4 stars. I still need to re-listen to this in English so that I can fully form an opinion, but my preliminary rating would be 4 stars. Really liked it. Survive the Night. Woof. Oh dear. Oh dear. We are going to go for 1.5. I hated this book. Big Little Lies by Liane Moriarty. This is a reread. Absolutely love Liane Moriarty, and this is my favorite book of hers. I think we're going to go 4.5 stars. Final Girls. Better than Survive the Night. I think that we'll do a 3, I guess. A generous 3. This was a picture book that I read in French. I don't really need to rate it. Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell. I did not like this book either. We'll do 2.5. I thought it was the ending should have been a horror novel, not a thriller, and they just kind of acted casual about it, and I was like, what is happening? Prince of the Mist. This is the first book by this author, and I think you can tell that it's a first book. We're going to go 2.5. Didn't hate it, but did not like it and did not motivate me to read his work, but I do want to try Shadow of the Wind because I know that is a very, well-loved book in history. So either or, the sequel to The Idiot by Elif Bachman. Loved this book, loved The Idiot, highly recommend. We're going to do 4.5 stars, docking 0.5 stars for Ivan. Stamped is a YA adaptation of Stamped from the Beginning. Really, really enjoyed it. Thought it was good for kids. The tone was a little bit talking down to you sometimes, but okay, those who leave and those who stay. This is the third Neapolitan novel. I love this series so much. I know that it gets so much hype online, but honestly, it is worth it. I think we're going to do 4.5. This one's honestly bordering on 5 stars. I don't know. I loved this one because it got much more overtly political than the previous ones. The other ones were kind of discussing the ways that politics impact people's personal lives in this setting, but this really dug into the actual politics behind it, and I thought it was great. Violets. It's translated from Korean. I liked this one. It was beautiful, very atmospheric, very melancholy, and then in parts just straight up depressing. But ultimately, I felt like it was kind of, I don't know, I was left feeling a little bit disappointed, so I am going to do 3.5. Kiki Kalira Breaks a Kingdom was a middle grade book that I read for my, trying out middle grade reads vlog, and I really liked this. We're gonna do 4 stars, I think. It features an Indian American main character and Indian mythology. Really, really liked it. Also has OCD and anxiety representation. Alatsue is another polarizing read. I think that a lot of people severely penalize this because it is categorized as YA, but in some ways it does read more like middle grade. But honestly, I was not that bothered about it. The main character is 17, but some 17-year-olds are very young for 17, so I don't know. It didn't bother me. I'm going to do 4.5 stars. I definitely want to read the author's new book. Witchlings! I want to reread this in 2023 for sure. Highly, highly enjoyed this. It was just one of the most atmospheric, heartwarming books I've ever read, and so I am going to give it 5 stars, which is a big one for me. The House on Mango Street, again, another one that I need to reread in English, but I did really enjoy this in Spanish. I initially started it when it was way too difficult for me, and so I had to finish it later because this is told very, very fragmented, and so it was kind of hard to follow, but I think that it's beautiful and sad, and I definitely want to reread it in English, and then eventually sometime down the road reread it in Spanish. Graphic novel for the first Percy Jackson book. It was okay. I enjoyed it. We're probably gonna do like a 3.5. It didn't motivate me to read the original book, but it also didn't make me not want to read it. The First Rule of Punk. Very cute, very endearing middle grade book. We're gonna do 4 stars. Has Mexican American representation. Fever Dream. I loved this book. This would probably be a borderline 5-star book, but I think we're going to do 4.5. This is a very, very short little novella. Very weird. It is like a fever dream. And Other Disasters. Sci-fi story collection. Had never heard of it, really, really enjoyed it. We're going to do 4 stars. Some of the stories were significantly better than others, but I really liked some of them. We had to remove this post, a very, very Instagrammed book. This was all over Bookstagram for a while, and I thought that it was very impactful. We'll do 4 stars because I would have liked it to be even more analysis. It's about content moderators, specifically for Facebook, but probably for any social media platform. I would have liked it to dive even farther into the topics that it discussed. I was less interested in the personal life of the person it was following, not gonna lie. But, I still highly recommend it to anyone who uses or thinks about social media in any way. Lemon is a literary thriller kind of mystery. This is another one that I had never heard of, but I did actually really have high expectations for it once I started reading it, and they were a little bit disappointed. Not a lot. I did like this book, but to me it was fairly forgettable, and I didn't really feel like I got anything out of this book. I don't know if that's bad to say, but we're just gonna give it 3 stars because not upset that I read it on any level, but I also wouldn't be begging people to read it. Paradise. This is a very messed up book, but in an intentional way, not accidental. I'm gonna say 4 stars. I would probably be waffling between 3.5 and 4, just because I felt like I wanted more analysis. She's just kind of presenting this really messed up, every kind of problematic philosophy that you can think of. She's just kind of presenting it without comment, and that does seem to be her intention, but I just would like more. The Swimmers, absolutely beautiful book, completely heartbreaking. We're going to do 4 stars, probably verging on 4.5. Mother Tongue, a book that I picked up completely at random, had never heard of it, and absolutely loved this book. It's written very beautifully. It's about love and the ways that we try to fix ourselves and other people with love, and about politics, about the imperialist, militaristic United States government in Latin America. The Women Destroyed, another very surprising book. Loved it. Simone de Beauvoir is very problematic as a person, but loved this book. Giving it 4 stars. La Leyenda del Bosque is Spanish, middle grade book. I don't think it's been translated. Really liked the first book, so we're going to give it 4 stars. Mouthful of Birds, a short story collection by the author of Fever Dream. Did not love this. There were a couple stories that I liked, but otherwise not so much, so we're going to give it 2.5. La Resistencia is a YA fantasy book. I don't think this one has been translated either. We're going to give it 3. The romance was very cringy, but the fantasy was fun. Ghost Squad, another middle grade fantasy, and we are giving this one 3 stars. I felt like the plot was very underdeveloped, but loved the setting and the characters. Mooncakes, this was so endearing, a graphic novel with a ton of amazing representation, very cozy, giving it 4 stars. The Blue Witch was a YA, or middle grade fantasy, I mean. Fun, not super memorable, 3.5. Killers of a Certain Age was an entertaining but ultimately pretty flat, unmemorable thriller. Characters were completely forgettable. We're giving it a generous 3 stars, I would say. Eva Evergreen, super cute, atmospheric, middle grade fantasy. We'll do 4 stars, probably. The Iliac Crest is a literary, translated from Spanish, and very, very interesting, very thought-provoking, very confusing. I have no idea what this book was about, to be honest, but I enjoyed it. Dogs of Summer. I buddy read this with Toby from Toby's Book Corner. It was a very interesting read, but I hope to read something that the author writes in the future that maybe confronts things a little bit more head-on, I guess. This was 3.5 stars. I did like it. I do think it was worth the read, but I wanted more. Hide, one of my favorite thrillers this year. Really enjoyed this. I'm going to give it 4 stars. Could be 4.5, but we're gonna go 4. Reluctant Immortals, one of my most disappointing reads. Picked this up at the library, I had never heard of it, but absolutely loved the cover, absolutely loved the premise. We're giving it 2.5 stars. It could be a 3, but I just think it was a 2.5. Oh, Night of the Mannequins. Man, another one. I, again, love the premise, I liked the premise, I loved the writing, but I'm going to give it 3 stars because I didn't like the plot. Like, I did not like what he did with the story, which is unfortunately kind of important. Little Blue Kite, I don't probably need to rate this, but this was a kind of a children's book. It was fine. Nobody needs to read this, though. Like, yeah. Cat Person is a little comic collection. Super cute, super endearing. We're going to give it 4. Queen of the Cicadas, very surprising read. Really enjoyed it. Very weird. I would love to hear from more people on this one. Racial Innocence, about anti-Black bias in the Latin community in the United States specifically. I'll give this a 4-star. Lure, very short, completely fine, but, just fine book, 3.5. I'm not going to rate Uzumaki because I did not finish it. I would like to eventually, but I was just kind of bored with continued short stories that all talked about exactly the same thing. Venomous Lumpsucker. This could have been a 5-star read. We're going to do 4, I guess. This one was a weird one. A reread of Anne of Green Gables. This was one of my favorite childhood books, and I am happy to report that it was one of my favorite books this year. 5 stars. Absolutely wonderful. Reread the first part of Little Women, and I enjoyed it, but it was not incredible to me. I'm going to give it a generous 4 stars. Could have been 3.5, but I did enjoy this. Graphic novel, I don't need to rate that. What am I doing? Oh, we're not going to rate that. The Only Good Indians. Okay. Oh, my back hurts. Okay. Really liked this. We'll give it 4 stars. El Silencio de la Ciudad Blanca. This has been translated into English. The Silence in the White City. We'll give it 3. We'll give it 3.5. The characters are some of the most annoying people that I've ever seen in my life, but the plot was okay. We'll just, I guess, rate the English one. I read The Little Prince. This could be controversial. I think I'm going to give it 3.5 stars. I just don't think this is as deep as everyone else thinks it is. I don't know. I didn't read it when I was a kid, so I don't think I have the same, emotional connection that other people do. The second book in this series, I think we're going to do 3.5 for the second one. Man's Search for a Meaning. This is a memoir, and I really loved the memoir portions. Wasn't as crazy about the psychology portions, but we're going to give it 4 stars. Razorblade Tears. Yes! 5 stars. Don't even have to think about it. 5 stars. Crónica de una Muerte Anunciada. I need to reread this at some point because I just think I wasn't in the mood for this. We're going to give it 3.5 stars. I do think that I will like it better in the future sometime. Lies She Told. This was a thriller that I just listened to on a whim. Had never heard of it. Didn't like it. 2.5 stars. It was fine, but maybe 2 stars. Nah, 2.5 is fine. The Atlas 6. So, I really enjoyed this book. I was unaware of any hype going into this, so I think that really helped me out. It could be a 3.5. It could be a 4. I'm going to do 3.5 because ultimately this is like a very empty book, but it was really fun. So The Twilight Zone, I loved this book. Between a 4.5 and a 5, I think I'm going to go 4.5. Jane Eyre, another reread, another childhood favorite. This one is complicated because it is problematic AF. but I love the story. I love the characters. I love almost everything about it. So I think I'm going to go with 4.5 stars. All Her Little Secrets is another thriller, like a mystery. I really enjoyed this, but the pacing was a little bit off for me. I think I'm going to go 4 stars. Ciudades de Humo. This is a Wattpad sci-fi romance. Oh, we're going to do a generous 3. Babel! Oh my god. 5 stars. 5 stars. If I could give it 25 stars, I would. Okay, Space Invaders is another book by the same author as Twilight Zone. This one's a very, very short and more artistic. I did not like it nearly as much because it was kind of like, it felt incomplete to me, but I think that was an artistic choice, but we're going to go with 3.5. I still liked it. And then, when the fuck did I give this 5 stars? I don't give this 5 stars. So I like this. I reread it for a video, and it's a fun read. This is the book that got me into sci-fi when I was a kid. Very entertaining. Has decent messages, I guess. We'll give it 4 stars. So that is everything that I read. They're vacuuming the hallway. I don't know if you can hear that. So let's look at our stats. Average rating 3.73. That seems right, actually. Most of the most books this year were 4 stars, a lot of 3.5s, a lot of 3s, some 4.5s, and 5 stars. Razorblade Tears, Babel, Anne of Green Gables, Recitative, and Witchlings. Yeah, that checks out. Let's look at my 2.5 stars. Silent Parade, Mouthful of Birds, Prince of the Mist, Then She Was Gone, Reluctant Immortals, and Lies She Told. Yeah, that's about right. I think Then She Was Gone, I think honestly I should give that, we're gonna bump this down, because this one I liked less than the rest of those, so we're gonna give it 2. We're gonna give it a flat 2. I was being too nice at the start, you know. 4.5, we had 11. Yep, these are all good books. Good books. Yep. I feel very good about this. That's kind of how I felt about this year, is like, it was pretty good. I feel like 3.73 is like the perfect average, because it was pretty good. It wasn't amazing. It wasn't great. I did not have like an incredible amount of standout books this year, but it was pretty good. So, I would love to hear your average rating if you do rate books, and yeah,